Welcome back to Technical Difficulties. Filmed in my gear-laden survival shack / cramp / overcrowded with build parts and camera equipment / feet-smelling stream room, which will need to be purged by flame after the quarantine ends. Today we're going to do a combination of things. We're going to start with a gadget review and then see how far we can push it with a few extra parts. And it all starts with this. Yep, a poorly crafted paper airplane. Now you might think very little progress has been made on the paper airplane front since around the time the Wright brothers finally made a rideable one. And boy, would that have made a great episode of Technical Difficulties. I'm going to put that in my dream journal for one day when we have a bigger budget. I wonder how many tiny Nerf motors it would take to lift a person. Check it off. Alright, focus. The paper airplane finally got a bit of an upgrade when Power Up Toys introduced this. It's a lightweight, Bluetooth-controlled, propeller-driven attachment, which kind of turns a paper airplane into an RC plane. Now, as a kid, a remote control plane was the #1 gift option that I never actually got. In retrospect, I did drive an RC car into a pool one time, so maybe it was not unwise of my parents to hold off on that one. But it does bring up an interesting point about price to durability. Back then, RC planes were very expensive and also very fragile. These days you can get a quadcopter for maybe $20 and it scratches pretty much the same itch, plus during normal operation you probably can't break it. Now the Power Up 3.0 will set you back about $50. It's a long, long way to boxing fit. For that, you get the main unit. This is clipped onto these. Yeah, there we go. For that, you get the main unit, which has the Bluetooth module at the front, and then a propeller and a rudder here at the back to power it and direct where it goes. A few paper airplane templates, charging cable, a stabilizer bar, and an extra propeller and rudder. Plus this thing, which I guess is so you have a place to put it. The app actually does a pretty good job of setting you up for your first flight by guiding you through all the steps of folding the airplane, attaching the propeller unit, and adjusting the trim before it'll even let you attempt to fly. And all of those things are critically important, as I found out when I took it outside. My first several test flights were short. Thankfully, I had a pair of helper gremlins to run my second camera and retrieve the plane. It was certainly a bit windy out, but even when the air was pretty flat, getting this thing to stay in the air was challenging. Pretty sure most of my successes were due to a lucky blast of air rather than the power of the prop. The rudder on the plane didn't seem to be either responsive to my control or large enough to actually make much of a difference. And the only way to control if the plane climbed or dove was by varying the throttle. In the app, you have to keep your thumb on the throttle slider or it shuts off automatically. You can't set a steady speed and focus on controlling the direction. Flying it, you kind of look like you're trying to cast a spell on the plane because you're out there waving your phone furiously trying to get control. All in all, I think that if you had a day with very low wind or large interior space, you could probably tweak enough of the settings on here to get it to fly pretty smoothly. It's got adjustable flaps here to try and give you a more level flight, and then you can actually bend the tail flap here, which helps take some of that tendency to curve one way or the other out if you can adjust it right. Unfortunately, I didn't have a no-wind day or large interior space at the time that I was filming this, so I rarely was able to keep it in the air for more than about 40 seconds. Also, because you're working with paper, the shape of your airplane changes every time you crash it, which you're going to do a lot. And every little inconsistency in how you folded it may show up in how it flies. Thanks to the fact that your plane weighs basically nothing, it turns out the wind is a huge bully, always pushing you down, giving you an air wedgie, and then stealing your lunch money. Then it gets its life together, finds redemption, and goes on to produce lots of clean, renewable energy. Thanks, wind. What an arc. This leaves me with a bit of a problem, though. See, my whole plan here was to master the flying arts with this thing, and then introduce the idea of turning it into an FPV experience. That stands for first person view, and usually means mounting a small camera on a vehicle, usually like a racing drone, and then putting some video goggles on so you get the experience of being on that vehicle. You can buy a ton of drones that do this right out of the box, but they tend to be pretty pricey. Also, I kind of like the idea of being able to turn anything I wanted into an FPV experience. Then it occurred to me I got other junk around here that's remote controlled and plenty of tape. So let's see if we get a Lilliputian view of the world. To get started, I got this tiny little micro camera with built-in transmitter and antenna. It weighs only 3.4 grams and only costs about $16, so all in all, not a bad deal. So to go with that, obviously we need some really lightweight batteries. I chose these 1S LiPo batteries, which are only 7 grams. Now, I've never really dealt with LiPo batteries before, at least not ones that are just independent of a device, So wow, it's a whole thing to get them charged. I had to buy this whole other charging device because they're not really included with this. They have to be balanced charged. It's a whole thing. So do some more research on that if you go this route. This one set me back like another 30 bucks. And finally, this sexy looking thing is the receiver and video display. This ran about another $56. Now both the transmitter and the receiver here operate on the 5.8 gigahertz band. You're going to want to make sure that when you buy these things that the transmitter and receiver operate on the same band, otherwise you'll never see anything. Now I do have a little bit of a speed bump here. This camera comes with this power adapter, which doesn't in any way connect to this battery. Whatever I do, it needs to still be removable, but also I don't want to add a lot of weight. Why not? Let's give it a try. Ultimately, it's all red and black wire, so it shouldn't be too bad. These leads fit into this battery. So far, so good. This is probably terrible. I'm gonna cut these, strip the wires, and I'll cut this and strip the wires here and solder these together. It'd be great if I knew which one of these was the positive terminal and which one's the negative terminal, but I guess let's just guess again. Hey, fortune's favoring the fools today. So we've got lights on our transmitter. The lights on the back of this device actually do signify which band it's in. Oh, right off the bat, I got it. Oh, that's so weird. But it does actually have the option for video out. And there we go. Through the miracle of technology, I now have, it's on a delay, I have a tiny camera that I can mount to things, which is growing worryingly hot. So what you're seeing there is what you see if you were to look in the goggles. Just to run it down here again, what it's taking to show that to you on the screen is I'm plugged into the component out on the headset, which is going into a video converter, which is turning it into a 480p HDMI signal, going into an Elgato HD60, going into my laptop. There you go. It's just that easy to record what happens when you're doing your drone races. Any video dropouts you're seeing on here are entirely because of this cable getting wiggled and not from the display itself. So inside the goggles, it all looks good. Okay, so now that we have a working transmitter and camera with battery and goggles that can see what it sees, let's strap it on some stuff and see what happens. Did I just make an endoscope? Oh, this is what I look like to an ant. Ow, it's hot. Okay, I'm gonna unplug it.
So here's our first test subject. It's an incredibly overpowered remote control car that I borrowed from Eli. I loosely electrical taped the camera on top along with the battery. It was a lot of fun to drive for about 45 seconds. Turns out the battery wasn't very well taken care of, and that's all the drive time I got out of it. And then of course what we've all been waiting for, a flight test. This is a quadcopter that someone sent us on Awu a long time ago. I managed to tape the camera and battery down right on top of the quadcopter. I apologize for the quality of the video on this one. The receiver and the recording setup had to be kind of a little bit far away from me because that's where power was. As I showed you, that was a pretty intense setup to get it to actually be able to record it. When I was wearing it on my head, actually the reception was very, very good and I had pretty decent range. Honestly, this thing's a lot of fun to fly. The headset isn't the most comfortable thing in the world. There's no notch for your nose, and if you got a big honker like me, that is sort of significant. But despite the fact that it doesn't look great at 1080p here, to your eye it actually looks really, really good in the goggles. All in all, this was really a lot of fun to play with.
Thank you for joining me for Technical Difficulties. I hope you enjoyed our little foray into the FPV world. Go out there and show me videos of all kinds of things that you can tape a tiny camera to. Dogs, smaller dogs, maybe even cats. Technical Difficulties will be rotating out with This Just Internet for a few weeks, so please go watch and enjoy that show while I think of some more wild things to put together for you. I've really enjoyed doing this show for you. I hope that you've enjoyed watching it. If you have any ideas, thoughts, concerns, please feel free to message me with them. I'm always open to new ideas from the community for things to build, things to review, something you'd like to see. The computer building episode was entirely because of the number of people that reached out to me about that topic. So talk to me and I'm happy to do something that you guys think would help. And now I finally get to get most of this crap out of my office. Bye! Technical Difficulties is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. And Omaha Steaks is offering a variety of specials specifically for Father's Day. Go to omahasteaks.com and enter the code RYAN in the search bar. I'm an offer code for steaks. And you'll see several offers for Father's Day. many with free shipping, and a free 1 pound package of their perfectly cured, incredibly thick Applewood smoked steak cut bacon. There are lots of packages available. They're all ready to ship out to your dad this Father's Day. They've got a variety of packages which include things like world famous Omaha steaks, burgers, franks, sausages, and other favorites perfect for grilling, premium poultry and pork cut by Omaha Steaks butchers and individually sealed for freshness and flavor. They also have tasty and easy to make side dishes, no work, one-step family meals, artisan desserts. My wife loves the apple tartlets. Again, right now, lots of packages available, ready to ship, many of which with free shipping and including a free 1 pound of Applewood smoked bacon. Omaha Steaks delivers guaranteed quality, so go ahead and send one to your dad today. Can't make it any easier. Just go to omahasteaks.com, enter the code Ryan in the search bar, and send your dad something he's going to like. And hey, if you want bonus points, you cook it for him.
This is Emma from Gothenburg, Sweden,